Prince destinations where dreams take flight.
All right, ready to set sail. Today, we are charting a course through Tauck's 2025 Small Ship Cruising brochure.
I'm on board. Let's see where talk takes us.
I'm thinking luxury, maybe a little adventure, and definitely some of those unique Tauck touches we hear so much about. What do you say we dive in?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
The first thing that struck me about this brochure, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but it felt different, more like an invitation than just, another list of trips.
Right. It's that family-owned history, isn't it? 100 years of experience passed down through generations.
A full century of travel. It makes you realize these folks aren't just in the business of booking trips, it's in their DNA.
Exactly. And they're clearly passionate about sharing that with their guests. That comes through loud and clear in this brochure, I think.
Yeah, and they're not shying away from it either. I mean, we've got a personal message from the Tauck family right here at the beginning, A&D, a letter from Daniel Mahar, the CEO.
It's like they're inviting you to be a part of their travel legacy, not just a spectator. You get the sense that they really value those relationships, both with their guests and with the destinations themselves.
Which brings me to another point. Did you catch that section, One Global Family? They're not just talking about themselves. It's this whole ethos of connecting with people and cultures around the world.
It's refreshing, actually. Travel should be about more than just checking off a list, right? It's about fostering connections, both with the places you visit and the people you meet along the way.
Absolutely. And that seems to be woven into the fabric of everything Tauck does. You see it in the way they talk about their team members, their partnerships with local communities, even the way they design their itineraries. Speaking of which, before we get totally swept away by the warmth, did you have a chance to check out that Driven by Innovation section? Because I have to say, they are not afraid to try new things.
Right. It seems every other page mentions some groundbreaking partnership or exclusive experience you won't find anywhere else.
The Ken Burns American Journeys collaboration, for example,
Yeah.
that's next level stuff. They're taking history off the page and bringing it to life through these incredibly immersive journeys. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I have not. That's what I love about Tauck. They're not content with the status quo. They're constantly pushing the boundaries, finding new and innovative ways to connect travelers with the world.
Okay, so we've got this incredible legacy, a commitment to creating meaningful connections, and a drive to innovate like no other. But let's be honest, what we're really here for is the adventure, right?
Of course. Let's talk destinations.
And not just any destinations. We're talking about those hidden gems, those off-the-beaten-path treasures that you can only really experience with, you guessed it, small ship cruising.
Now, that's an experience I think our listener can really appreciate. There's something so alluring about exploring the world from the comfort of a smaller vessel, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like trading in the mega resort for a boutique hotel, you know? You're not just one face in a crowd. You're part of something more intimate, more exclusive.
Exactly. And it allows you to delve deeper into each destination. Smaller ships can navigate those narrower waterways, dock in those charming, less-traveled ports that larger cruise ships just can't reach.
So we can say goodbye to those massive crowds and hello to authentic encounters, right? I'm picturing secluded beaches, hidden coves, maybe even a private wine tasting with a local family.
Now you're speaking my language. And because you're traveling with a smaller group of like-minded adventurers, you have a better chance of forging those genuine connections with fellow travelers, too. It becomes less of a vacation and more of a shared journey.
All right, so color me intrigued. Where are these small ships taking us in 2025? Anything new and exciting on the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. Let's start with the newest member of the Tauck fleet. They're introducing the Silver Moon.
The Silver Moon. Okay, I'm getting some serious luxury vibes just from the name. Tell me more.
Well, picture this. High space-to-guest ratio. Spacious suites is standard. And forget about fighting for a spot on deck.
Sign me up. You had me at no fighting for deck chairs. But enough about the ship itself. Where will she be sailing? What kind of itineraries are we talking?
2 new itineraries in particular caught my eye. Both pretty classic destinations, actually. There's the Aegean voyage, going from Istanbul to Athens.
Ooh, the Aegean. History, culture.
And stunning scenery. And the second one that jumped out at me was the Rome, Amalfi Coast, and Sicily itinerary.
Talk about a dream trip. Okay, let's dive into those a bit. The agency. I mean, you're sailing through the heart of ancient history. It's practically a history buff's playground, right?
100%. You'll be cruising through waters that witness the rise and fall of empires, exploring incredible ruins like Ephesus. And then there's Istanbul, a city that straddles two continents.
The crossroads of East and West, I can just imagine those bustling markets, the incredible architecture.
And the food. Don't forget about the food.
All right, you've convinced me. The Aegean is definitely going on the bucket list. But what about the Amalfi Coast? That one just screams romance, wouldn't you say?
It's pure magic. Picture dramatic cliffs plunging into turquoise waters, charming villages clinging to the hillsides, pastel-colored houses, delicious Italian food.
Okay, I am sold. And you know what else I appreciate about Tauck? It's not just about the glitz and glamour. They're clearly committed to responsible tourism, too.
They are. That partnership with the Galapagos Conservancy really stood out to me. Talk about a unique opportunity. They're taking travelers to one of the most fragile and unique ecosystems on the planet.
And working to protect it at the same time. That's the kind of travel I can really get behind.
Absolutely. It's about leaving a positive impact, giving back to the communities you visit, preserving them for future generations.
Okay, so we've got a luxurious new ship and a couple of pretty spectacular itineraries to choose from. But if we had to pick one to really zoom in on, I'm feeling drawn to this Aegean voyage. That stop in Istanbul, for example, day 4, they've got you exploring the spice market.
Oh, the spice market. Now that's an experience. It's a sensory overload in the best possible way. You're surrounded by these incredible colors, aromas, the sounds of vendors hawking their wares.
I bet you come home with bags full of spices you don't even know how to use.
Maybe. But hey, it's all part of the adventure. And then after Istanbul, you're off to Lemnos, which is a bit of a hidden gem in itself.
Lemnos. Okay, I'll admit I'm not as familiar with that one. What's on the agenda there?
Well, on day 5, you get to choose your own adventure.
I love that. Options are always a good thing.
Right. You can take a scenic drive through the countryside, visit a local winery for a cheese and wine tasting, or if you're feeling more historically inclined, there's a walking tour of Myrina, the island's charming capital.
Something for everyone. And then, cherry on top, on day 7, we've got dinner under the stars in Ephesus. I mean, come on.
I know, right? Can you imagine anything more magical? Dining amidst the ruins of this ancient city, the stars twinkling overhead.
Talk about an Instagram-worthy moment. And speaking of Ephesus, you know what I love about small ship cruising in destinations like this? It's all about those up-close and personal encounters.
Right, you're not just getting a glimpse from a distance. These smaller vessels can navigate closer to shore, dock in smaller harbors.
So you're right in the heart of the action. You're not just a spectator, you're a participant in the adventure. You know, browsing through this brochure, it's one thing to see those stunning photos of the destinations, but I can only imagine what it feels like to actually be there.
To experience it firsthand, right, with all your senses engaged. And that's where Tauck really seems to excel, creating those immersive, multi-sensory experiences.
It's all about those little details, those small touches that elevate a trip from, oh, that was nice, to, wow, I'll never forget that.
Exactly. Like having a Tauck director by your side throughout the journey. Did you get a chance to read about them in the brochure? They're not your average tour guides.
Definitely not. They're more like, what would you call them? Cultural ambassadors. They seem to be incredibly knowledgeable, not just about the logistics and the history, but also about the culture, the food, those local insights you wouldn't find in any guidebook.
It's like having a well-traveled friend, showing you around their favorite corners of the world. They handle all the details so you can relax, enjoy, and really soak in the experience.
Speaking of details, there's a section in this brochure that I know our meticulous planners out there will appreciate. The general information section. It's not the most glamorous part, but hey, sometimes you need to talk about the nitty-gritty, right?
Absolutely. Because let's be real, as much as we all want our trips to be flawless, the reality of travel is that sometimes things don't go according to plan.
And that's where having a company like Tauck, with their attention to detail and commitment to guest satisfaction, can really make a difference.
Exactly. For example, they're very upfront about the fact that travel involves a certain degree of unpredictability. Weather happens, flights get delayed, it's just a part of the experience. But they also emphasize their commitment to handling those situations with the utmost care, making sure their guests feel supported every step of the way.
It's reassuring to know they've got your back, especially when you're investing in a trip as special as a small ship cruise. You know, as we wrap up this deep dive into Tauck's 2025 small ship cruising brochure, I'm curious, what's your biggest takeaway?
After exploring all the amazing destinations and experiences they offer, what really stands out to me is that feeling of exclusivity, of personalized adventure.
It's not just about checking destinations off a list, it's about those deeper connections you forge along the way with the places, the people, the cultures, and ultimately with yourself.
I love that. And for everyone listening, I hope this deep dive has inspired you to start planning your next big adventure. Safe travels.